Hi guys, and welcome to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm here bringing to you my very first live stream, and I'm going to be answering all of your Thanksgiving related questions. Thanksgiving is just a few days away, and I'm going to help you get ready so that way you're stress free and your holiday meal gets put on the table. You have a great time, and I'm going to answer all of your questions. So you guys posted a lot of questions on YouTube. You shared some on Instagram, actually lots on Instagram, and some on Facebook. I have most of them written down, and I'm also going to follow the chat, and I'm going to keep up with it to kind of answer your questions. And as a bonus, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite recipes to serve as a dessert. It's perfect, especially if you're going to make something very last minute, or you don't have a lot of time, or you want to make something economical, or you're just not into pies. I don't know, whatever your thing is. These shortbread cookies are delicious. Now I use them to decorate my pumpkin pie, and I just use them just to serve them all the time anyway, because what's better than a mini version of a shortbread cookie that is in holiday shapes. So to make my shortbread cookies, I'm going to use these little cutouts. If you don't have these cookie cutters, you can pretty much find them anywhere these days in your local kitchen supply stores. They're also on Amazon, and I'll try to put a link once this live stream is over down below where you can get them. They have really cute Christmassy ones with like reindeer and snowflakes. They're so pretty. The ones I'm going to use today are leaf shapes, and this is my favorite. It's a little acorn shaped one, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is. So today's live stream is sponsored by The Brunch Table. It is my very first cookbook. It's available on Amazon as a paperback, and it's also available as an ebook download on my website, dimitrasdishes.com. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, you should head on over there and get it, because it's not just for making brunch. As a matter of fact, one of the most popular questions that were asked, or it was asked several times, was if I have a good stuffing recipe. Now, the basic stuffing recipe, you know, with celery, onion, a little bit of garlic, and some stock cooked with butter and some stale bread. Everyone pretty much knows how to make that. It's the standard go-to recipe. I don't have it up on my website, but many people do. But I do have this delicious spinach and feta strata. It's like a bread pudding, and it would be delightful to serve at your holiday table. You're shaking a little too much, Isa. Keep it back. So Isa is filming today. He's my youngest son, and we're gonna have a good time. So let me get started with some of the questions that you guys have asked, and let's see. Let me say hello to some of you guys. Hi, Tanya. Thank you for always being here. I'll say hello to everyone in a little bit, but anything with sweet potatoes maybe as a mash. So I will just answer these questions, as many as I can, in a little while. I'm going to go through the list of the most common questions that I had asked, and then I'm going to go to the chat to answer your questions as we get to them. And then I'll hopefully get to making the shortbread cookies. But let me start with the first question. Any desserts other than traditional pies? So not everyone's into pie. I mean, honestly, I can have pie any time of the year, especially pumpkin or apple pie, but I get it that some people don't have the time, or they don't want to go through all the hassle, or they're just not into it. I don't know. So these shortbread cookies definitely are one of my favorite things to serve. And then if you want something that has all the like flavors of the season, you could do my karidopita, which is a walnut cake. It's a Greek walnut cake that once it's baked, it's drenched in a honey syrup, and it has cinnamon and cloves and just all delicious flavors. You can even chop up some apples and put them in there to get that, you know, holiday flair in there. You could do any cookies like I'm doing today, or my arugula, and do like a little cookie bar to serve with tea or coffee. You can make those well ahead of time, just so that way it could be just one more level of stress-freeness, you know, to make it easy for you. And if you want to go over the top, I would probably serve my ekmek kadaifi. And basically that's shredded filo that it's baked in a lot of butter, and then it's drenched in a honey syrup and topped with a pastry cream. And if that's not fabulous enough, then on top of that is whipped cream. But in Greece, sometimes they don't serve it with the pastry cream, and they do ice cream instead. So let me head over to the mixer and start with these cookies. It's my basic shortbread cookie recipe, and it's so easy. It's one of those doughs that I like to have on hand all the time. So it starts with 3 sticks of unsalted butter, and this recipe is also in the brunch book, you guys. So if you prefer the ebook version, go ahead and download that. It's only $9.99. Give it as a gift. It's a nice gift to feed people or to teach them how to feed themselves and their families. And then we have some sugar. I have confectioner sugar to keep it nice and light, and granulated sugar. And as in all sweet recipes and savory, you need some salt because it brings all the flavors together. Just a little bit of salt. Doesn't make it salty, but does make it super flavorful. Pure vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons. I go heavier if you've been watching. So let's put the vanilla extract in here. We're gonna start the mixer and I'm gonna beat it on low speed first so it doesn't, all fly out. Once it's combined, we're gonna add the flour and that's it. It's gonna be ready to go. I should plug the mixer in first. So while that's mixing, let's see if you guys have any questions that I can answer. Let's see. Hi Dimitra, this is from, I can't read this, Knack Rokov. So any Greek pumpkin pie recipe, I'm from Bulgaria, don't celebrate but love our neighbor's cuisine. I don't have a Greek pumpkin pie recipe, but I have an amazing American style pumpkin pie recipe. We filmed it yesterday. It should be up tomorrow. I usually post on Fridays, but I didn't get to yesterday because I was preparing for this live stream. And so it is a delicious pumpkin pie. I mean, we sold so many at the bakery when we had it because it's between a pumpkin cheesecake and a pumpkin pie, and it has a shortbread cookie crust. This dough that we're making, I turn into a crust, and it's in the shape of a tart. It's baked in a tart pan, so you're gonna wanna look out for that. I'm posting it tomorrow. It is amazing, so delicious. Even though there's cream cheese in the pumpkin pie filling, it's super light and airy and like mousse-like. So that's how I make it. So how do you make your galopula or turkey filled? So I never stuff my turkey. If you watched my how to roast turkey, which is one of the first recipes that I posted when November started, because I get so excited about Thanksgiving. I don't know about you, but it is my favorite time of year to entertain because that Thanksgiving meal, we really all just eat once a year and we go all out, we make all the sides. And as a matter of fact, I didn't get a chance to host Thanksgiving while we owned the restaurant for the past 9 or 10 years. So I was super excited to host it this year. But to answer your question, I do not put stuffing in my turkey, and that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you stuff a turkey, then it blocks the airflow and it takes longer for the turkey to cook. So the longer you cook a turkey, the drier it's gonna get, and we want a really nice moist turkey. Secondly, you're gonna have to double cook your stuffing because all of the juices from the turkey are gonna fall in there and they're not really gonna cook through. So unless you're okay with cooking a turkey and having it a little bit on the dry side and maybe fixing with some gravy, then you can put your stuffing in the turkey. But I don't do that because I like to cook the stuffing on the side, if that makes any sense. So, do you know Mariella? Yes, I do know Mariella. She was one of my favorite employees. So say hello to her if you know her. Hi Mariella, and hi to her beautiful daughters and her family as well. So do I have a pumpkin phyllo pie recipe? I do not have a pumpkin phyllo pie recipe. I'll add one as soon as I can. There's so many recipes that you guys asked for, and my brain goes crazy with recipes, and I wish I could film them all, but I'm going to do them one by one. Hi Katarzyna Gloss, nice to see you. Thank you guys all for being here, by the way. Any good recipes for brunch from the book which you could recommend? Well, definitely my spinach strata. If you want to make a different bread stuffing or dressing, I would go for that one. The scones, my feta and dill scones, I would substitute those for any dinner roll. They're so flaky, they're so flavorful, and everybody loves them. So those are the two. If you have the book, I would definitely make those for Thanksgiving. Let's see. Yes, so hello from Italy. How cool. Thank you guys for watching all the way from Italy. I hope to one day go to Italy and maybe meet some of you guys. Have you ever cooked pumpkin or sweet potatoes with orange, sage, thyme? You're from Crete. You should know about fascomilo or sage you use with zucchini and with potatoes. I love sage. I do cook with sage, not often throughout the year just because it's hard to find in the supermarkets here in America, but I use it in almost every one of my recipes. I use it in my turkey, I use it in my stuffing. It's delicious. Happy Thanksgiving, Treza. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Thank you guys for being here. Do you have a recipe for homemade vanilla extract? I do not have one yet, but I'll post one soon. Hi, Sophie. Let's see. Hi, Goldie. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, Elena from Miami, Florida. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Let's go back to the cookies so that way we can get them going as well. So once the butter and the sugar is combined, I like to put it on high speed just to get it extra fluffy. That should be good enough. And now, once that's done, we're just gonna add the flour. This is one of the easiest doughs to make. That's why I love to use it in as many things as possible. And if you come close and go and look into the machine, you could even add all of the flour in together. There we go. Now that's gonna mix on low speed. You can bump it up to medium once everything blends in. And as soon as you see a dough form, you can take it out and it's going to be ready to roll out. So while that's going, let me go on to some more questions that you guys had messaged. Let's see. Should I make two kinds of meat, like with turkey? So most people are cooking turkey, and a lot of you guys wanted to know if you guys should serve two main courses, like a turkey and a beef, or a turkey and, like, I don't know, something else, right? And my answer to that is no. And that's because, first of all, you're not a restaurant. People who are coming over your house to enjoy Thanksgiving are coming to, you know, have fun, have a good time, have you sit there with them, not have you slaving in the kitchen trying to figure out how to cook two meats at the same time. Turkeys are usually very big. Let me turn this off. Turkeys are a big cut of meat that take a while to roast in the oven. The last thing you want to do is have the turkey roasting in there, trying to squeeze in like a roast beef or something else, or maybe even like a roast chicken for the two people that don't like turkey on Thanksgiving. You don't want to do that. If you know you're having guests over who are not fans of turkey, the sides should fill them. The sides, Thanksgiving sides are so filling, and they're probably the best part of the meal. That should be enough. But if you really want to feed them like another protein, make it a potluck and have one of your guests bring another meat. I think that's what I would do, and I'm really recommending that you do that too. Otherwise, it's going to be super stressful. Trying to cook two main courses at the same time is no fun. And as far as being prepared ahead of time. So a lot of questions came in. A lot of you guys wanted to know how to have everything cook at the same time and serve it warm. That was a very common question. And my solution to that is to make most of the sides, if not all of them, ahead of time. Either prep them and have them ready to bake the day before, like put them all together and then bake them. Like you can make your stuffing the day ahead and then just bake it on Thanksgiving Day, or you can just bake everything the day ahead and then just warm it through in the oven. Like you can totally do that. You can make all of your pies ahead of time. You can make almost all of your sides, and that's going to make it super easy for entertaining. Let's see. Separate kids menu. A lot of people ask, should I have a separate kids menu, and do I have kids sit at a separate table? Nope. In my house, we serve everything buffet style. I mean, the kids in our family like to eat the same thing that the adults like to eat, and when something's buffet style, whoever doesn't like something, they don't have to pick it up. I don't serve anyone at their chair. I'm very laid back. My style is just super laid back. I'm not fancy schmancy, like putting, you know, nameplates or signs and assigning people seating chairs and stuff like that. It's cool if you like to do that, if you have a small group of people coming over, but in my house, everybody sits wherever they want, on the couch, upstairs, in the dining room, wherever. We all have a good time. We enjoy the food buffet style, because I usually always have at least 15 to 16 people. That's like the least over my house for Thanksgiving. We have a big family, so everything goes out buffet style, and I like it that way too, because I can sit and enjoy the meal with my guests too. So I don't cook separate for kids. Because, you know, macaroni and cheese, stuffing, mashed potatoes, turkey, all these things are kid-friendly foods, so you really don't have to do that. I have more questions here. Let's see. Can you fix an overcooked or dry turkey? Anar916 from Instagram asked that question. Yes, you can. Now, I know a lot of people are super worried about overcooking a turkey. I mean, sometimes these recipes too, they make you so panicked and stressed out because if you cook it past 170 degrees Fahrenheit, your turkey is ruined. It's really not ruined because guess what? That's what the gravy is for. My favorite way to serve turkey. Okay, so once I bake it, you saw if you watch the video, I bake the turkey and then I let it rest so that way the juices redistribute, right? If you just follow those steps, you will have a juicy turkey, okay? But say for some strange reason, you know, you thought that it needed to be cooked more and the thigh meat looked a little bit red and you cooked it more and the breast got a little bit overcooked and now it's a little dry. Well, when you go to carve it, by that time you should have your gravy all ready and it should be warm. And when you carve your meat and you put it on the platter, pour a couple of ladlefuls of warm gravy on top, and that's it. Your dry turkey problem is gone and you're injecting tons and tons of flavor. Cover it with foil and set it aside. And don't even worry if it cools down a bit because you can always warm it through in the oven before you serve it. Preheat the oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Most likely your oven will already be hot and you can just pop it in there just until it's warmed through. If you need to add a little bit more gravy, I would thin out that gravy a little bit with a little bit of broth, pour a little bit more on top, pop it in the oven, and as soon as it's warmed through, it'll be juicy goodness at the table. So that is your answer about fixing overcooked or dry turkey. It's not that hard. So do you usually cook for Thanksgiving? It is my favorite time of year to cook. My faves, everything, turkey, cranberry sauce, gravy. Gravy is probably my favorite. Gravy and the cranberry sauce. Whatever's left over, I put those three things together in a sandwich, and I like to have a little bit of extra gravy on the side and dip my sandwich in there. I'm weird like that, but it is so delicious. Trust me, if you haven't made my gravy, make it this year because you will be glad you did. It's so flavorful, has a hint of lemon in it, and it's delicious. Let's see, what do you serve vegetarian guests? Most of the things, so if you're talking about sides, I try to keep my sides on Thanksgiving Day vegetarian because, I don't know, they're just delicious like that. So if I'm making stuffing, like the traditional stuffing, I try not to put chicken stock in there and I put vegetable stock instead, just so that way my vegetarian guests can enjoy it too. If you're talking about main dishes, my spinach and cheese Greek style lasagna, which is on this channel, is delicious. It is worthy of being served as a main course. It's filling and it's like spanakopita in lasagna form. Delicious. I have so many other ones too. I have stuffed melizanes papoutsakya, which are little eggplants. I have a moussaka vegetarian style. Go on the website, type in vegetarian, and a lot of recipes will pop up, and they're all delicious and perfect for serving to your guests. What size turkey should I buy? You're gonna look at the pounds. So like 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per adult. I like to go to 1.5 pounds because I want to have leftovers. Everyone's not gonna eat a whole pound, but you have to remember that there are lots of bones in the turkey. So you're really not gonna get whatever the pounds is. If it's 16 pounds, it's not gonna be 16 pounds of meat. So keep that in mind. If you're having a lot of guests over and one turkey will not be enough and you don't have room for 2 turkeys, what you're going to want to do is buy some separate cuts of turkey. Like you can get turkey legs and roast them in the same pan or maybe in another pan because that doesn't take a lot of space. You can also buy turkey breast and just serve those aside in a separate pan, and that will serve your it will save you the hassle of having to roast 2 turkeys. After all, you're gonna carve it anyway, and no one's really gonna know how you did it, and it really doesn't matter. And that comes to another question: should I carve the turkey at the table or before serving? Absolutely before serving, unless you have somebody over that is an expert carver and they're gonna do it and everybody's gonna sit there and watch them do it and it's gonna be something fun, like a tradition that you have in your family, then go ahead and have somebody else carve it. But if you're like me and you get nervous watching everybody watch you carve a turkey, and if your knife isn't sharp enough and it's starting to, smush all over the place and you have a mess of juices, I like to carve it ahead of time, especially because I told you that little trick of keeping it moist. I like to pour gravy on it, and that flavors it really well. So that's that. let's take a break from these questions and let's take out our dough and roll it out. So if you guys have a tabletop mixer, it's great to use. I'll tell you that if you haven't bought one yet, right? Or if you have one and you have one of these really nice glass pitcher ones, I would recommend that you stick to the stainless steel kind, because I've had something really scary happen to me. Right before we closed the bakery, I was using one of the glass mixing bowls, and this little piece right here that screws on and off, this thing right here, it was loose and I didn't know it, and this fell out from the top. Let me leave it here before it happens, right here. And it fell into the mixing bowl while it was mixing. The mixing bowl shattered on the table. There was glass everywhere, and thank God nobody got hurt. Now, this is the first time it ever happened, and I've had this glass bowl for years. But if you're a novice cook, or if you just do things in a hurry like myself and sometimes don't have time to really check everything, stick to a stainless steel bowl. These are pretty and they're big, and mostly they're pretty. But if you're looking for like safety and practicality, the stainless steel bowls are the best. I think they're cheaper too, so that's another plus. Okay, so the shortbread dough is ready. What we're gonna do now, I'm gonna cut it in half because I'm only gonna make half of these today. And the best thing about this dough is that it can be frozen, and it stays fresh frozen for a really, really long time, you guys. This thing, if you wrap it properly in your freezer and keep it in your freezer, as long as it's airtight and it doesn't absorb the smells from your freezer, it'll stay fresh for a month. You know, we had these packets of these at the restaurant in our freezer, ready to go at all times. So what I did here, I rolled it out to 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And then I'm gonna take these little cookie cutters that have little stamps attached to them, dip it in a little bit of flour. You press down, and then you go down just as if you were cutting the cookie. And then you go down and you stamp it, and it lifts it up. And look, when it pops it out, isn't that cute? Look at how beautiful that is. Who wouldn't want to eat that? So I have a sheet pan here lined with parchment paper. I'm going to go ahead and make a bunch of these, and then I'm going to look at your questions. I didn't forget about you guys, but I wanted to give you a dessert to make last minute. These are also really cute if you're celebrating any holiday this time of year and you want to give gifts to maybe teachers or co-workers or just anybody. If you want to make little goodie bags for anyone who's coming over. Let's see, this one is not popping out. Okay, so if they get stuck, I'm glad that happened. If they get stuck, then you just want to get the dough out of there and dip it in the flour. Tap off the excess, and it should work now. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm going to tell you that the key to entertaining any time of year, but especially during the holidays, is to be super organized. Have a plan ready. So I like to clean my house at least one day before. So like one day before, I'll make sure that the whole house is clean, so that with the day that I'm having my guests come over, I'm not trying to cook a meal, make sure I have all the pans and the plates out. None of that. All that stuff is done ahead of time, and it saves me a huge headache. I also like to get my outfit ready. I like to know what my kids are going to wear. They usually pick out their own outfits if they're older, but if you have little ones, lay everyone's clothes out the day before, and you should be good to go. Preparation and planning is key. That's the main thing. Now, another thing, I have all of my recipes on here. They're all made from scratch recipes, right? But I also have little kids. I have a little 3-year-old who's sitting right here. Layla, say hi. Say hi, Layla. Who needs my attention. She needs my attention all the time. And so sometimes maybe on Thanksgiving is not going to be the time where I'm going to make my fresh homemade rosemary bread. I'm already making a turkey, I'm making cranberry, I'm making stuffing, I might be making mashed potatoes, I'm making my pies. So I might go to the store, most likely I will, and pick up a loaf of bread if I want to serve it. I'll go in, I'll get the ready, the baby spinach leaves or the baby lettuce leaves, just so that way when I'm making the salad, it makes it super easy. Sometimes, yes I do, sometimes I even buy those pre-pack, what is it called? The stuffing bags, the bread that's already seasoned. They have some really good quality brands out there, and anything that's gonna make my life easy, and it's gonna make it's gonna make it easy for me to entertain and like enjoy my guests while they're over. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna sacrifice flavor or taste or anything like that, but anything that I can get help from, I'm gonna do. And I also recommend that you guys do the same thing. This time of year is more about getting together with the people that matter most in your life, spending time together, seeing your family, eating delicious food, but it's not about perfection. So just get the perfection idea out of your head. You don't have to have the perfect tablescape. You know, we're not all Martha Stewart, and even Martha Stewart, you guys, she has helpers. Barefoot Contessa, who is the queen on Food Network, if you ask me, she doesn't do it all herself. If she did, she probably wouldn't, make it look so perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about getting together with family, making memories, getting together with friends, and enjoying and doing this all over a nice meal. That's the reason that I love to cook, because of the memories that are attached to it, the love that comes with like feeding people a delicious meal. I don't know. Those are my 2 cents about it. Let me know if that makes sense to you in the comment section. Let me know what some of your tips are for getting ahead of the game and making entertaining easy. Another comment I get on here a lot is, oh, you make it look so easy. It's your food is so pretty. Mine doesn't come out like that. Mine didn't come out like that in the beginning either. And it's still, you know what? People still loved it. It tasted delicious. I mean, that's all that mattered. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, just like anything else. And so don't worry about having it look perfect, because what I've learned, even through while having a restaurant, people like rustic. So like I told somebody in the comments the other day, if it doesn't come out perfect, guess what? It's rustic. Tell your guests that it's rustic, and trust me, they're not going to have a problem with it. If they do, just don't invite them next time. If anybody's criticizing that your tirapita or spanakopita braid looks more like a tangle than a braid, you don't need them in your life. That's it. I mean, so I'll just I'll roll all the rest of this up, because I know we have a lot of questions to answer and we don't have too much more time. Let me go over and get some sugar. Be right back. So once they're formed, look at these, how pretty they are. This one has a little too much flour. Let's tap it out. There we go. So you're going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of them. Now this makes a lot of cookies. Just for time's sake and for saving some time, because I have to chill it a little bit, I'm going to stop right here and not roll out anymore, because I know you guys have a lot of questions too. I have a huge list of questions to go through. But we're just going to sprinkle some sugar on top, and then we're going to chill these in the refrigerator. It's best to chill them in the freezer, but my freezer is jam-packed. I'm going to see if I could find any space for it. But I'm going to chill these, and then after they're a little bit set, I'm going to pop them in my oven, and I'll show you what they're going to look like.
Can I talk now? Can I talk now?
Okay, so it's in the oven. Layla, you can't talk yet. Let's see what questions you guys have.
Okay.
So stainless, the Georgian Pano, stainless steel is more durable. My mixer danced off the counter, oh my God, and fell onto the floor. I feel your pain, and that's something that would happen to me. Bam, I thought someone drove into our house. The sound was so loud, the bowl dented slightly, but, well, if it was stainless steel, it made it. You know what? That's the way to go, and I recommend it. I know these glass jars, like I said, not glass jars, these glass bowls are very pretty, and I use them so that way you can see what I'm doing, and I'm super careful. Believe you me, each time I take out the mixer and I'm about to use it on the channel, or really anytime at home, I don't want to clean up glass at home. At the restaurant, it was much easier. But anyway, so I'm super careful. I make sure that all the attachments are tight, and that doesn't happen. So outraged lyrics. Yeah, my family does buffet style as well. Less headache. I think it's not only less headache, it's more fun. Because anything that makes life easy, believe me, do it. Make your life easy. Put everything up buffet style. Everybody can help themselves. I feel like when gatherings are very laid back, everyone. What happened here? Excuse me. I mean, I put it on Do Not Disturb, but we'll figure this out. Dimitra, you should do more live chats. Also, I have tried your recipes and they're amazing. Filaka. Thank you, Sophie. You know, your comments mean so much to me. I'm so touched, and I'm so grateful that I get to do what I love to do, and that you guys enjoy the recipes. I get messages from you that these recipes remind you of your mom or your grandma, and they might not be near you. It just touches my heart, and it keeps me going. This is a lot of work, but it makes it all worth it when I hear your stories and I hear from you guys. Isaac Clark. What is this? Support Trump. Guys, leave the politics off the channel. I support turkeys, okay? Get a good turkey, support your local farmer, support your local farmers, okay? If you can get a turkey from your local farmer, that's about the only kind of politics I'm going to talk about on my channel, okay? I don't want to hear about politics on here. It's a dirty job. I want to have nothing to do with it. I don't even want to talk about those people. Anyway, let's see if you guys have any more questions. Hi, Zara. Good to see you. Let's see. Anything with chestnuts, Creed, maybe I have tried pork with chestnuts. I have heard you could use cinnamon and cloves to it and use rosemary and a bay leaf. I have not. The only thing I've done with chestnuts is made a chestnut and sausage stuffing. I made that about 10 years ago. It was delicious. I took cubes of bread and then I sauteed them with butter and herbs, lots of rosemary and oregano. It's delicious, a little bit of sage. And then I put some chicken stock actually in there, since it did have the sausage in there. I like to use lamb sausage in that. And then I put some chestnuts in there with some raisins, and I baked it, and it was the most delicious stuffing ever. I'll test it for you so that we can get the exact recipe down, and I'll share that recipe with you as soon as I can. Maria Katsiris, what recipe travels well? I live 250 miles away from my family, and they always expect me to bring something. Always get criticized for store-bought food. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, if you're bringing food and somebody's criticizing you, that's not nice. So if you want to bring something that travels well, offer to bring dessert, and definitely bring these cookies or a pie, because they do travel very, very well. And then you could just put, if you're making like an apple pie, my apple pie or my apple strudel, just warm it through in their oven when you get there and you should be fine. If you're talking about main courses, let me think. Mashed potatoes travel perfectly well. I have a lemony mashed potato recipe, a scordalia recipe that's delicious. You could use that. If you're talking about main courses, pasticcio travels very well. So if you want to bring, like, if your host is making the turkey and they want someone else to bring a different main course, you could offer to make pasticcio, because it's set. It won't jiggle. So once you make it, let it set for a good hour or two, and then you could just wrap it with foil and put it in the car, and it'll travel very, very well. And when you get there, warm it through just for like 30 minutes and it'll be good to go. Julie Davis, Dimitra, my whole family loves your pita bread naan recipe. It's so easy. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Julie. I'm so glad you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here. Let me go back to these other questions that I have. Let's see. How do you defrost turkey? Excuse me. So I always defrost turkey at least 3 days ahead of time. To tell you the truth, this year I have 2 turkeys, and I'm going to defrost them beginning tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. I'm going to put them in my refrigerator, and that's the only way I recommend that you defrost them. I like to put them in a stainless steel or any kind of, excuse me, I like to put them in any baking tray that holds them, so that way if they leak any juices, it leaks in the tray and not in your refrigerator, because trust me, when you're preparing a big meal, the last thing you want to do is clean raw meat juices from your refrigerator. Keep it in your refrigerator. It takes at least 3 days. It can take up to 4 days. Now, I do not recommend thawing out a turkey on your countertop. It's not safe. Bacteria grows, and then that just becomes really unhealthy to cook that. If you really wanted to emergency thaw your turkey, what they say to do, and I haven't tried it yet because I plan for this feast all year long, so I never really forgot to thaw out a turkey. But I have read that you can fill up your sink with cold water and dunk your whole turkey in the packaging in the water and change out that water every hour, and in a couple hours your turkey will be thawed out quickly. Let's see, what else? How do you prevent soggy pie crusts? Okay, that's easy. I mean, my apple pie recipe has the step-by-step process, and it will never be soggy. Even if you're eating it 3 days later, it'll still be nice and crisp and perfectly baked. And that's because I like to keep, let me show you, I like to keep a baking stone in my oven. Let me show you that right now. So this baking stone right here, it's basically a huge tile. I like to keep it in here all the time. I keep it in there even when my oven is baking, when it's on, when it's off. I even run it through the clean cycle, and it makes it. If you have a really thick pizza stone, go ahead and get that. These break often, so I really don't invest that much money into it. But if you have a tile store nearby you, just go and measure your rack, your oven rack, and get a tile that will fit in there. Do not take it out unless you're cleaning it. Never put it in a hot oven, because that's what causes it to crack, the change in temperature. If you leave it in there, it will last a really long time. And not only that, but it'll help the food cook evenly. It retains heat, and then also when you put your baking tray on there, your pie crust will begin cooking immediately. Excuse me. I have to get myself some water. But anyway, your pie crust will cook very evenly on there, and it'll begin to cook immediately. And I also start off especially my apple pie crust at a high temperature, and then I reduce it because it'll cook it really fast. A lot of times, actually all the time, my pie crusts are they go in their oven from the freezer, so that sometimes makes it a little bit harder for them to be soggy. But trust me, if you follow this recipe, it will be crisp every single time. So just follow the recipes. If you're using a different recipe, blind bake it. So put the pie crust in your oven, covered with foil with some beans on it to hold it down. Bake it at 350 for about 15-20 minutes so it can get started cooking. And then when you put your pie filling in there, it will not be soggy. Some people like to brush butter on it. I mean, I never had to do that, but that's what I do. How do you know the turkey is cooked? When you insert a meat thermometer in there, it should register 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it hits 165 degrees Fahrenheit, you can take it out, it's cooked. Sometimes when you take out a turkey, you'll notice that later on when you go to carve it, the thigh meat, sometimes for some people, it might be underdone or undercooked. You could carve the breast and remove the legs and everything, and put the legs back in the oven to roast for a little bit. You can totally do that. I didn't think of it until recently. Sometimes I was stressed out over it, like, oh my God, the breast is cooked, but the thighs still look like they need a little bit more time. I don't know. Sometimes it takes a while to figure stuff out, but simple things like that. You just remove them from the turkey and just cook them for a little bit longer until you like them, until they're done. The best thing about turkey and chicken or any kind of thigh meat, it's really hard for it to dry out. If you cook it longer in the oven, it will not dry out. You will be good to go. Let's see. How to make sure everything is ready at the same time. Make the sides ahead of time. So you can make cranberry sauce can be made even 3 or 4 days ahead of time. My cranberry sauce leftovers sometimes last weeks. I mean, I have never had it go bad. I wouldn't recommend that you make it weeks ahead of time, but get a head start. If you want to start making your cranberry sauce on Monday, go ahead and make it. Put it in an airtight container, keep it in your fridge, and anything that makes life easy, do it. Make as many things as you can ahead of time, and just warm them through that day. It's gonna make life so easy. Make ahead pies, all of the pies that I made on this channel can all be made ahead, and they should be made ahead because it just makes it so much easier. Let's see what's going on over here. Dimitra's dishes. What kind of tile this is from Shasha Kila. What kind of tile did you say that is? Thanks. It's just a regular floor tile. I like to use ceramic tile, so it's a big tile that fits in my oven. I just measured it. My husband actually cut it because I don't know exactly the size. You can put 2 tiles in there, but any ceramic tile will do as long as it's not some kind of funky material that releases chemicals. But go to your tile store and any ceramic tile should do. Hey, I'm back. You have a recipe for cornbread bobota. I have heard of one with raisins in it. I do not, but if you've had my cornbread with feta and zucchini, you're gonna fall in love with it. Use that one right now. That is delicious. Hey, I made cornbread, but I froze it. It is okay. It is totally okay. It'll thaw out just fine. You could warm it through slightly in the oven just until it warms through the day that you're serving it. Do not cook it for long because then it'll dry out. Thank you. You're welcome, Shek. I'm sorry, I don't want to say your name wrong. Shasha Kila. That's a cool name, by the way. I will be trying, this is Rika73. I will be trying your cream cheese pie crust for my apple pie. First time crust will be homemade, not bought and frozen. Yay! You can do it. This is my favorite crust to make, you guys. Now, owning a restaurant for 10 years, it started off as a bakery because baking is my passion, taught me so many things. First of all, it taught me how to do so many shortcuts, and I am passing them on to you and passing the torch to you guys. You guys can all do it. That cream cheese pie crust is a lifesaver. I mean, who wants to mess with, you know, just the right temperature of butter and freezing cold water and don't mix it and this and that. This is just tender, delicious pie crust, and I know you're gonna love it. And if you don't have time to make a pie crust next time, you can use puff pastry too. Flaky, buttery, delicious, but that cream cheese pie crust is to die for. Let's see. Shasha, I'll call you Shasha. Okay, so let me get my cookies out of the oven. They should chill longer, but let me tell you. So you need to chill them really well because the longer they chill, you could actually freeze these, you guys, but the longer they chill, the better they'll hold their shape when they bake. So anything with butter in it, once it hits the oven, it tends to spread a little bit. So if you've ever made butter cookies or any kind of cookies that you've wanted them to hold their shape and you put them in the oven and they've kind of lost their shape and they spread out, that's the reason. If you don't want that to happen next time, add a little bit more flour to the mix because the more flour is in there, the more sturdy they bake. Or chill them for really long, like freeze them. You can even bake them from freezer to oven. We did it all the time in the restaurant. It never failed. They always came out perfect each time. So mine might spread just a little bit because I'm in a hurry, so that way I can, I know you guys have things to do. It's almost lunchtime if you're here in the States. I'm gonna have to go pick up my son in a little bit, but I'm gonna pop them in the oven, and they take about 15-20 minutes to bake. Let's see what's gonna happen. Another good thing to invest in is an oven thermometer. If you see that right there, this is an oven thermometer, and that is very good to have because every oven works at a different temperature. I'm gonna turn this off. If you've noticed, the temperature on my oven says 375 degrees, and I told you guys to bake it at 350. Let's get back to the counter so I can explain why. So, every oven bakes different. When I moved to this house, excuse me, I think I need to get myself some water. But anyway, when I moved to this house, I wondered why all of my recipes took much longer to bake in this oven. And then I went and I got a little oven thermometer, and I realized that this oven bakes 15 degrees, less than what it says. So I had to bump it up a little bit, and now 15, did I say 15 or 20? Whatever, anyway, 25 degrees less. So now anytime a recipe calls for something to be baked at 350, I have to set my oven to 375 degrees. It's a very inexpensive investment, but it's a kitchen gadget that will make your life so much easier. So monitor that, and it'll make it very easy. Like I said, these cookies take anywhere between 15 to like 20 to 22 minutes to bake. You'll know when they're ready when they're golden brown. I feel like I say that with almost every recipe, but that pretty much is the key. They're just going to get really nice and golden on top, and that's how you know they are done. Let's see if you guys have any more questions. You have made butter cookies with pumpkin. Yum. Could I add walnuts and raisins? Yes, you can. Raisins, I don't know about raisins. Maybe in something more like a biscotti. You could put it in these shortbread cookies. They might not fare well. Any kind of nut that's ground up will be really good, but I don't know about the raisins. Try it and let me know. I have watched that you added vanilla. Could I add cinnamon, cloves? What about nutmeg? Do you use nutmeg? Okay. You can add whatever you want. This basic shortbread dough can be used to make it a million flavors. You could do like a gingerbread flavor with this by adding cinnamon and maybe substituting some of the granulated sugar for some brown sugar to give it a little bit of a darker, more molasses color. You can totally put cinnamon in it. You can put almond extract instead of vanilla extract. You can flavor it any which way you want. I am not a huge fan of nutmeg. If I put nutmeg, I like to put it more in savory dishes. I know a lot of people like to put nutmeg in their apple pies. Personally, I don't like it. If you like it, that's the best part of cooking. You can put it in there. Whatever you like, put it in there. Cloves are really nice. Cloves are super strong, so you want to just put a tiny bit. Maybe start with a 1/4 teaspoon. Put more cinnamon. Cinnamon it's much more palatable than cloves are. Cloves get a little bit, how do you say it? They kind of have like a numbing effect. I don't know. They're nice in the background, but when they're overpowering, I'm not a huge fan of those either. What about allspice? Sure, if you like it. Like I said, the best part about cooking is that you can make it to suit your taste buds and whoever you're serving. You can flavor this recipe any which way you want. One of my favorite cookies are the Greek almond cookies, also known as kourambiades. I am going to share that with you in December. It is a recipe that you will absolutely love. It's a crumbly shortbread. It's similar to this except there are eggs in it. It's much lighter than an American or English European type not cornbread. I'm still thinking about Thanksgiving. Shortbread. Very nice, very easy to make. I've been asking for gingerbread cake. I know you have, Tanya, and I hope to get to it I know you've been asking for it. I think you've been asking for it for at least a whole year. And this year, I'm going to try my best to get to it. And when I do, I will let you know on Facebook. What was the name of the cookies with almonds? Kourambiades. Those are Greek almond cookies. I know the Spanish people also have it. I think they're called Spanish wedding cookies. Almost the same. Excuse me. You use a fan. I don't always use a fan. If my oven has a fan, I use it because it circulates the air evenly. This oven doesn't, but it still bakes good. The oven that I had in my other home was very strong. It was almost like a commercial grade oven, and I had to be very careful with that because the heat came from the bottom, and sometimes it would cook the bottom much faster. So just be careful. Get to know your oven. It's going to be a very good friend, and as long as you know how it works, your recipes will come out good. Let's see, Malcolm. Hey, Malcolm, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Hey, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you and your family in Australia. Can I make alaftabureko and freeze it? You can. You can make alaftabureko before you bake it. You can freeze it. You can assemble the whole thing and put it in a baking dish, wrap it in plastic wrap or in aluminum foil, and keep it frozen. Now, I'm not a huge fan of freezing a whole galaktabureko. I prefer to make my little rolls, and I do have a recipe for individual Greek custard pie rolls. Those freeze and bake beautifully. I actually had a cooking class a few weeks ago, and I was teaching how to make the galaktabureko, the Greek custard pie, and I had leftovers, and so I froze the little individual ones, and then I had family come over, and so I took them out and I baked them. They do take a little bit longer to bake because they're frozen, but they came out perfect, as if they were like freshly put together. Yes, you can. I have never frozen an entire galaktabureko, but I imagine if you cook it low and slow, you might be okay with it. Let me know if you try it, but definitely the little individual rolls, they freeze well. I do have galaktabureko recipe. It's on the channel. I have two of them actually, the pie version and the individual version. How many minutes? Let's see, what else? the title of my book. So yes, I would love to repeat the title of my book. This is The Brunch Table. And again, if you're in America and Canada and some parts of Europe, Amazon distributes this so as a paperback, so you can get that on there as a paperback. But as an ebook, you could download it from my website, dimitrasdishes.com, from anywhere around the world pretty much, and it's a little bit less expensive too. I tried to get Amazon to distribute it to Australia and to other countries, but for some reason they can't do it at this time. I'm sorry, unfortunately. Florica Pounds, hi from California. Hi. Let's see. Have you ever made Greek phyllo pie with milk and rice or risopita? I think it is sweet too. I have not. I have made Greek milk pie several times, not on the channel, just like at home for my family. I'll share a recipe soon. It's a delicious and very inexpensive and easy pie to make. I think anything with phyllo and milk or cream is just delicious. I mean, don't you guys all agree? Now, let's see. Hi from Ecuador. How cool. Hello. Hi from Ecuador. It's funny because at one time we were thinking about moving to Ecuador without ever even visiting there. It sounds like a beautiful place. I think we researched a little place called Villa Cabamba, if I'm saying it correct. I don't know. It was the time when my family just wanted to do something different and get away for a little while, and we never did it, but maybe one day we'll visit. I hope to visit. I love traveling, and if I had $1 million and I could do one thing, I would just travel to so many different parts of the world, because I love experiencing authentic different cultures and different areas. I love to see how people do things in different parts of the world, and I just think that that is probably the solution to the world's problems, just getting to know other people and just seeing how we're all the same. We just have different ways of doing things. And traveling is just one way to do that if you can. I think it's awesome. Back to Thanksgiving questions. Let's see if you guys have any more. Hi from Michigan. Hi. Florica, I'm happy I pronounced your name correctly. I usually mess it up. Raj Sarin, have you ever cooked chicken with mashed aubergine? Raj from Manchester, UK. Hello to Raj from Manchester, UK. My husband has family over there. So no, I have not cooked it, but I love aubergine. Aubergine is known in other countries as, in America, it's eggplant. For all of you guys watching who don't know what that is, I love eggplant, and that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to try that. Areth Gogos, hi Dimitra, I love all your recipes. Filakia from Ioannina, Greece. Hello, Filakia Kepamas. Thank you guys so much for watching. Raj, I think there is such a Greek recipe with lamb. I love you guys. You guys help me out in the comments. Yes, Turkish food is very similar to Greek food. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite, I have a bunch of favorite Turkish dishes. They make a delicious pizza style dish, I think called panirli. Oh my God, anything that's a pizza, tell me that you don't love it. I don't know. I love it. I love anything that's bread and sauce and cheese. They make amazing panirli, but then something that I love the most is imam bayildi. It's a fried eggplant that is so amazing. I have the recipe. It's a whole eggplant, and then I cook it on potatoes because I love eggplant and potato. I feel like it goes so well together, and then it has caramelized onions and tomato and feta, and it is just, oh my God, I'm just getting hungry thinking about it. Yes, imam bayildi, that's what I'm talking about. I know panirli is made in Greece too, but it's one of the dishes that we share in common with the Turkish people. Pasty Fleming, hi from Canada, my daughter's favorite cook. I love seeing you taking a spin on it. Hi Pasty, I'm not sure I understand which cookie. Are you talking about shortbread? Yes, I love shortbread cookies, and my kids love it too, and I'm glad that you guys are gonna find one more way to make this. Now, another question that I get asked a lot is, before I get to the questions, I do have an announcement for my friends that are watching in Houston. So ever since we closed our restaurant, we got a lot of questions asking what we're going to do next, and I wanted to do a Q&A, but I never got around to getting to it because filming videos and just life with family and kids and all, and getting my to-do list just never ends. But one of the things one of the questions that a lot of people wanted to know is what we were going to do next. When we decided to close our restaurant, it was a very difficult decision that we made because it was like our life, you know. We had that restaurant, we made everything from scratch. We were there all the time. At least some of us were. One of us was. My husband was always there. If he wasn't there, my children were there. So we all got pretty tired of doing that for so many years. We wanted to do something else. We wanted to definitely get out of the restaurant business and not do it again because of all of the hard work that goes in there. And so we were going to dabble in home renovation. My husband is really good at fixing houses and making them beautiful and like putting in kitchens and bathrooms. He just has the vision and the know-how on how to do that. And him and his brothers were going to get together and do that. And then, of course, I mean, I feel like we're a magnet to food. A restaurant opportunity came up, and my brother-in-law, my husband's brother, has always wanted to open a grill. They're Pakistani. If you don't know, my husband is from Pakistan. And so now we're opening a Pakistani grill here in Houston on Monday. So if you're in Houston near the George Bush Intercontinental Airport, where is it? It's on John F. Kennedy Boulevard. It will be known as Maza Grill, M-A-Z-A. We're going to make fresh flatbread naan. I mean, it's so delicious. We've been testing this recipe out for a good month, and we've gotten it right. There's going to be grilled meat and hamburgers and chicken burgers. It's just going to be delicious. So you guys are going to want to stop by and check it out. We're opening on Monday, and it's going to be good. So that's the announcement for my Houston friends. Hopefully I will see you guys there. I will be there on Monday with my husband and my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, and I hope to see you guys there. So that's what we're doing. We are going to be opening another restaurant. I mean, it was not planned. It definitely was one of the things that we were never going to do again, but I guess they say never say never. That's a saying that I'm going to live by. Never say never. It's a good thing, though. Have you ever used an Instant Pot for your recipes? I never have. No, I haven't. I have never used it. I don't like to buy things that I need to make space for. I mean, I know it's great. I've heard great things about it. I'm gonna keep checking my cookies. I've heard great things about it, but I just don't have one. I feel like if I'm gonna cook something low and slow, I'll cook it on the stovetop. My spot is usually in the kitchen. I'm always recipe testing or cooking anyway. I might get one at some point, but I don't have one right now and I haven't used it. Thank you, Malcolm. Have you ever tried Pakistani food? You should try making some here on the channel. I love Pakistani food. Pakistani food is so flavorful. It's one of my, after Greek food, it's my number 2. I mean, it's a close tie. I might start making some dishes on the channel. There are just so many requests for Greek food. I can't even keep up with them. At some point, I might introduce some more Pakistani dishes. It is. It's delicious. It is a cross between Persian and Indian. Very flavorful. Anna G. Tell Warda I said hi. I'm her friend. Warda's my daughter. I will tell her. Thank you for watching. I love your YouTube. Thank you. So, let's see. Let's check on the shortbread and let's see if they're ready. Why don't you pass me the camera? Ethan, see, I think somebody was at the door, right? Let's check on the shortbread, you guys. And they are ready. So once you see how they've gotten golden all around, I'm going to take them out and take a look at them. Here they are. Now they could use a few more minutes of cooking, but shortbread is known to be golden all around and pale in the center. And this is how they should be. So I'm going to keep them right here. At this point, I'm going to turn my oven off, just like that. And I'm going to let them cool just for a little bit. So while those are cooling, I have some that I made yesterday in here. Because yesterday we filmed our pumpkin pie video, and this is what they look like once they're cooled. They are just beautiful. Aren't these acorn ones just adorable? Now, like I said, I like to have these on hand, especially during the holiday season. This time of year is when it's like a baker's paradise. I love baking. I love it when my house smells like something baking in the oven, especially if it has cinnamon in it, but this butter and sugar and vanilla smell will do. They're crisp, they're delicious, and these are what I use to garnish my pumpkin pie with. So tomorrow that video will be out. Take a look at it and you'll know what I'm talking about. Let me bite into it. It's tea time. What time is it? It's 1:21. We've hung out for a lot. Thank you guys all for how do you serve them. I like to serve them, like I said, as is. I like to put them out if I'm serving them at a party with hot tea or coffee. For kids, if you're serving them with kids, get a nice jar of milk out and then let them serve themselves, or put some nice cups of milk out. But tea, coffee, ice cream, you could put these, like I said, in little goodie bags. And if you're into like doing party favors, these make beautiful party favors because you can do them any shape you like. I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, for supporting the channel, for your sweet words, for all of your questions. I hope I've answered all of them. If I haven't, and if you have any other questions related to Thanksgiving or holiday entertaining, post them down below and I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. If you haven't already purchased the book and you'd like to purchase it, go and get it on the website or on Amazon. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today and every day. I wish you guys a very happy holiday season, a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you create beautiful memories that will last you a lifetime. I hope your meals are delicious and blessed and you just have a wonderful time. I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.